Hello, everyone. I am Corinne Crabtree. So, if you're here watching the replay, this is the No BS Women's Business Coaching Call, where I'm going to be talking a little bit about just business concepts that I think you might benefit from. This is for anybody who follows me, who is preferably doing some kind of online business, any kind of business that you're doing. I can always offer some advice, some coaching, some mindset. But here's the important thing. If you're here, make sure that you tag someone who needs to be here so that all your little business buddies do not miss this, because I only go live once a month, second Tuesday of every month at 9 a.m. Central Time on Facebook, and share it. Like, you can share this to your pages. You can share this to your business pages. You can share this to anyone that you think could benefit. All right. So for today, what I want to do is I want to do some Q&A. That means that you are going to be able to put questions inside of the chat, inside of the comments. You can ask me anything. If I know the answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you the best way to Google for it. If you want just some experience, like what was your experience when you went through this, I can do that. So let me tell you a little bit about me in case you're new here. I am the founder and CEO of the No BS Weight Loss Program. I have this business was born February 1st, 15 years ago. So as we've been saying all month long, that No BS is now a we have our learner's permit finally. So I've been around the block for a while. I started my business on a couch with just a laptop. I know this is an iPad, but just imagine if all you had was your laptop, yourself, and your brain. That's all I had, and a good idea. My idea was, I've lost weight. So I've lost 100 pounds. I did not go to business school. I did not go to college. I did not have a background in any of this. But I knew that I really wanted to help women lose weight, especially women that felt like this was the last stop for them. My passion is people who suffered with weight all of their life. They felt like they were always on a diet. For as long as they can remember, they have been struggling. And when I overcame my problem, I'm like many of you, when you're doing your business, you've probably overcome your problem, or you have learned about a problem that you're very interested in helping people with, and you want to start a business around it. And that's all I did. And so I just went on the internet and I just figured out, where are people hanging out? We did not have Facebook ads and podcasts and the thousands of resources that we have at our fingertips today. So I just decided upon who did I want to help, where are they, and I got busy doing anything that I could think of to help them. And because I believed that I could help them, I kept running into problems on helping them, and I would have to solve for that problem. So every time I solved for it, I was creating the business one thing at a time. The first thing I do is figure out, where the fuck are my people at? Where are they hanging out at? My people were actually hanging out on Weight Watcher message boards. Weight Watchers was like the only big weight loss program where women were actually talking about weight loss. So I went and hung out on their boards, even though I didn't lose weight with them. But I would just kept thinking about, where are they? Where are they? Just like you today can be thinking about, where are your people? What hashtags are they following? What accounts do they follow? What major accounts do they follow where that business is never going to talk to them? Never. Go deep into the comments, help people, offer advice. The next thing I noticed is I was offering so many people advice that it was taking me fucking forever to get it done. So I started a free blog so I could just start linking people to articles so I could help more people faster. And people who were reading the articles were really getting to know me. So every time I encountered a problem in the business, I just went to solving it. And that's always my bottom line, basic bitch, no BS advice for all of you is to quit trying to figure out the perfect path to get there and then get started. Literally think about, what do I need to do today to help somebody? Where is that person? What can I be doing? The biggest thing that most people do not do near enough in when they're starting their business is take enough action. You do a lot of thinking, a lot of worrying, a lot of being afraid that you can't do it, a lot of asking your peers, masterminding with a bunch of other people who don't know what the fuck they're doing either. And everybody's just having like a fucking kumbaya of inaction. A lot of talking about it and a lot of thinking about it. Decide every day, what is one thing I'm going to do today that helps me either make money or helps me find a client. If you just do that every day in the beginning, you will not believe how much more success you can have. All right. So also, let me see if, so we've got some questions over here. Let me see if my team is on this call where y'all are going to feed me some questions. Let's see. The questions will come here. Awesome. So I would like for everybody to be introduced to Sarah, who is on my team. She is in charge of our marketing. She was a member. I'll give you a free piece of advice for all of you who are going to build a team one day. You know who the best team members tend to be? The people who went through your program. Like, I watch people hire headhunters and go look for people all over the place. I got 25 fucking team members now. And every one of them but 2 came directly from my membership. So when you're thinking about like growing your team, think about the people you already know, who already love your brand, who already believe in what you do. I always hire for attitude first. So there's 3 things that we hire for all of you who one day will be hiring. It's always attitude is number 1. Somebody who walks in the door with an amazing attitude and they love your stuff, they will learn anything and they will do anything. The second is aptitude. So first is, do they have the right attitude? The second is, can they learn? Can they demonstrate ahead of time that they can learn all kinds of shit? So Sarah is a really good example of someone who had an amazing attitude. She was a no BS woman. She lost weight, quit smoking. She did all these amazing things. And she came up to me one day and just said, I'm going to work for you one day. And I gave her a project on something. I was like, well, let me know what all you can do for me. Here's one thing that we've been wanting to solve. And she was like, I'll figure it out. We were wanting to figure out how to make our Pinterest boards like be cohesive and all this other stuff. She didn't know dick about Pinterest. Guess what she did? She went and Googled and YouTubed her ass off, figured out the Pinterest, and showed us that she had the aptitude. She had the aptitude to learn and the passion to do it. The third skill of the 3 A's is the ability. You hire for skills last. I know that's very counterintuitive, but I will tell you, a very low turnover. I have an amazing team. And the main things that we hire is attitude, aptitude, and then the ability. What do you know? Ability is great, but let's all be honest. I didn't know shit about a business when I got started. Guess what I had? A great fucking attitude about it. And I had the ability to go and learn everything I needed to learn in order to build my business. All right. First, what are your best tips for managing your time? All right. So I have a few good ones. Number 1 is, so like on my iPad, I have basically what I call the to-do list for the week. This is just like a big dump of everything that I want to schedule for the next week. So as I'm working through the week, so when you first start, you're going to have to do a big ass download first. You need to think about everything that you need to do. Now, you take that list and you take a look at it and you prioritize it. I would prioritize in the early stages, and I still do this to this day. Like, what contributes to the bottom line first? Like, those are usually the most important things. Or what is deadline oriented, which means like, this is something that needs to get done now. Like, other people are waiting, or this next step can't happen until this one. What I notice a lot of you do when it comes to managing your time is you give equal value to everything. So you'll have like a long list and something can't be done until 3 of these other things have to be knocked out. But you're just sitting there and you're stewing and you're worrying about it as if it needs to get done right now. No, it don't. It needs to be tabled in your brain and in your panic and worry and in your overwhelm side. Like, you need to set it aside, but writing it all down is very helpful. So I I like to prioritize by what is bottom line revenue type things. Like, what are the things that we need in order to generate revenue? Deadline oriented type things. Like, this does need to get done this week, or it's just really important to the client's experience. So you just want to be able to sort through your stuff a little bit. The next step that I do is I open up a calendar and I time block things. So I take each one of those things and I find a hole on my calendar for it. And I type in, this is when I will do it. This serves a couple of purposes. Number one is when you put it on your calendar, a lot of us like to think this: I got so much to do. There's not enough time. I'll never get it all done. We think about time in terms of thoughts. We don't think about time in terms of numbers and data. My son, who is on the spectrum, was actually talking to me about this the other day. He was like, when it comes to time, like, I just think about it in terms of minutes and hours. Like, I just look and say, like, oh, 2 hours from now. Like, you never hear Logan ever say, it's a long time, or 2 o'clock will be here before I know it when it's 10 a.m. Like, he's always saying, like, let's say it's 10 a.m. You would never hear Logan say about 2 o'clock, it'll take forever for that to get here, or it'll be here before I know it, or that's not enough time. He always says, I have 4 hours. That's 4 hours. We have to think about time in terms of actual facts, not with our shitty ass mind bullshit drama. Stop talking about your time as if you don't have enough. You need more, all of that stuff. All that ever will do will leave you with greasy ass residue that does not get you taking action. It gets you worrying. It gets you frantic. It gets you panicking. It gets you texting your bestie about how busy you are and how little time you've got. But it doesn't produce any kind of valuable result. So you take your list, you plug all of this into your calendar. Here's what you'll learn. You'll either learn that you got way more time than your bitch ass brain gives you credit for, or you'll actually learn, oh my gosh, I really don't have enough time to get all this shit done. So I'm not going to sit there and act like a big titty baby about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all the things and say, like, what can wait till next week? What can I go ahead and plug in for next week? And anything you keep rolling over, you need to just, like, this is me. If I don't do it in 3 weeks, now I just question, why am I putting on the list to begin with? It obviously is not that important if other things keep coming up. So I learned something very valuable. Either I have said yes to something that I no longer need to do because I can easily push it off, or I'm saying yes to things. This is actually really important. I need to get it done. And I need to look at my calendar at all the things that I am doing that keep me away from this thing that's really important. And those are the things I need to say no to. The most common question I get after this is, well, I don't know how long things are going to take. Well, you fucking guess in the beginning, Sherlock. I mean, that's all you got to do. Like, in the beginning, you just guess how long it's going to take. If it takes more, guess what? You just learned the next time you need to do that, how much time to schedule. You not doing that always has you never knowing how much time things have to take. So what you really need to do is you need to think about, all right, I'm going to be learning how long things take me so that I can plan better. Some things won't take me near as long. If it doesn't take you as long, guess what? You got some bonus time. You can either move on to the next thing or you can take a break. Either one. Or things are going to take a little bit longer. And if they're taking longer than you're planning, you know either one of two things. I didn't know how to establish how long that would take. That's good information to know. That way I can fix that going forward. Or that took me a long time because I was multitasking. I was fucking around. I was spending time worrying it wasn't going to work, whatever. All of it's about evaluation and just learning. All right. One other thing about this that's really important. So the first time you do the big download, I keep a to-do list. So like as my week goes, my week is very planned. Like today, I don't end until 5. I literally don't have a stopping point today until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Everything is stacked. That's good to know. So this morning I knew like my husband is off right now getting me 2 protein shakes because I'm not going to have a chance to eat today. That's fine. This is the only day of the week that mama don't get to eat and have an oral orgasm for her breakfast and her lunch. I can handle that shit. But what happens is all day long, I'm going to have new things that I need to do. So I'm going to be putting all of those on that to-do list. And then next week, I'm going to plan them. I'm going to do this on Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to plan the following week. If anything gets assigned to me that needs to get done this week, then I want to go immediately to my calendar and I want to look for an empty spot, or I need to look for a spot where it's like, okay, this now is more important because of these reasons. Can I get both done? If not, this thing now has to move to the next week. So that's kind of how I do all of my time management. I don't know why I ever take my glasses off. I always take my glasses on and off all the time. How do you recommend building a business with 2 kiddos and a new baby? Managing my time and fitting everything in has been a challenge. Exactly what I just said. Like, pretty much that you're going to need to plan small pockets of things because you're going to need to have lots of white space for kiddie things. That's when I was growing my business. I had a little. Logan was about, I think he was 2.5 or 3 when I started. And then he was diagnosed with autism at 5, where we started having to add in therapy and all this other kind of stuff. I just blocked my time. Now, when you have kids, what you want to do is you want to think about white space. You're not going to know every single time when your kids are taking a nap, and you're not going to be able to plan all that. What you can do is you can have that rough skeleton, and you know that during nap time, this is what I do. Or I only have 2 hours a day. Maybe it's 2 hours for all of them wake up, or it's 2 hours after they all go to bed, or or maybe when your partner comes home, they're like, I'll give you 2 hours. Whatever your time that you have available is, this is where making sure that you know the important things to be working on, not the harried, worried things to be working on. So you're going to want to make sure that during your 2 hours that you want to make sure that during your 2 hours that you are spending the time on things that really matter. So like during your day, when you have your kids and stuff, what you can do is you can be thinking about in small pockets, if I was only going to do anything to move my business forward, what would it be? And you always give yourself one thing at a time. So when you have less time, it's more critical that you don't work on bullshit and that you don't think everything is important. It's more important that you just really identify what is the one thing that I can work on that moves my business forward. And when that's accomplished, I'm going to think about the next thing. Scaling a community. What tips have you picked up and where? I can tell you where. There's lots of really good information out there. There is a podcast called the Membership Geeks podcast. That one's really good. They talk about memberships. My community is 12,000. When I do challenges, it's over 20,000 people. I have like 650 something thousand people on our email list. So I really am good at community. You can also listen to, this is not a podcast, but if you will Google Stu McLaren, STU, and then MCCLAREN, Google him. He has a course that he launches once a year on how to build a membership. That's his specialty. I would look there. I've learned a lot of good stuff from Stu McLaren. He used to have a podcast, but I don't think they use the podcast anymore. But I love Membership Geeks. They also have a membership where you can learn how to get a membership up and running. I actually have a dear friend who is a membership specialist, but she right now is only working privately with people, and she's not taking clients. But in the future, when she is ready to do all that, I will be happy to share her with everyone because she's a genius. A lot, though, of my community information and stuff has literally come from me working with people and learning how to run it. The most important thing I think when it comes to a community is being really clear on what you stand for and telling your people, like, this is who we are. This is how we operate inside of our community. and then you making sure that you help them. Like if you're doing those three things, you're going to have a community that runs pretty tight. We have people tell us all the time inside of our own community of the No BS women. I don't know how you have all these women in a Facebook group and nobody's arguing. It's because we're really clear. We came up with our No BS creed, like what is a No BS woman and what does she stand for and what does she not do? We have a video that I shot that just tells them this is how we operate in this group. Like some of our rules are never be an asshole. If you're an asshole, you'll be put in timeout. No questions asked. Like we just have very no bullshit rules about our community. We talk about what we do talk about, what we don't talk about, how to show up, how to be vulnerable, how to help the other person, how to be somebody who just wants to read, and how to be someone who wants to post. You just have to, in community, it's a lot of just make it clear and obvious for them. You don't want people walking in your community and having to guess what the rules are. It's like going to somebody's house. You know, if they say take your shoes off, you take your shoes off. But what you don't want to do is go to the party and be the only person with your shoes on and notice everybody has their shoes off and nobody told you. So you want to just be really clear about things. How did you know you had a good accountant? That trust factor. We just researched. We hired a company called Simple Numbers. The guy wrote a book and that's who we hired. I don't think that there was trust comes from your thoughts. And so what we did was we just made sure that we really, we interviewed them as if we were going to, I want you to think about your accountants, your legal, any of these extra contractors that you're going to have that are going to be helping you with your business who are not necessarily your employees, but you have to think about them as I'm hiring these people. They're going to be a part of my team, even if they're not going to be an employee. So like with accountants, legal, tech, things like that, we interview the shit out of them. We interview them just like we would interview them if they were going to work for us. Like we don't leave it to question and we don't just pick one person. We interview several. We ask all of them the same questions. Like I want to make sure I'm asking the same questions to, like if I'm going to interview 3 accountants, I want to ask them the exact same questions, all 3 of them, to see how they're answering. Now, I may have like 5 main questions that I want to ask an accountant. I can probe differently with each one based upon their answer. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm very consistent so that I'm getting like a sense of who they are, a sense of what they do for me and all that kind of stuff. So that would be my tip there. I've started a 7-figure nonprofit and now do consulting work within a firm. But I dream of starting my own business. I have young kids and I'm feeling torn between my current job, which pays well and is flexible, my desire to start my own thing with my family. In a dream world, I'd like to make more than I make now while working less. And that feels impossible. I know it's my thoughts. Any tips? Yeah, it is your thoughts. So what I would do is go to the dream world. So what a lot of us do is like our scared brain, the one that thinks like, oh, people can't do that. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This doesn't mean that you have to do it. So you can just kind of tell your brain, like, whether I do this or not, I have a winning situation that I'm in now. I have this other situation I would love to be in. Spend a few weeks every day writing about what it would look like, what it would take, and allow yourself to believe that all that could happen. Like if it was all going to go right, if it was all going to happen, this is how it would be. These are the things I would need to learn. These are the things that I would do. Let your brain conceptualize the dream world, knowing you don't have to do any of it. You don't have to say no to this, but let it believe that it could be possible. Let your doo-doo come up and be like, all we're doing is dreaming. All we're doing is daydreaming it. All we're doing is thinking about what's possible. That is usually super helpful because what happens is when you just allow your brain to be like, we're not going to do anything about this, but we are going to dream about it. Your brain starts solving problems that right now it stops solving because it thinks I can't do this. And here are your reasons why. And then it just wants to keep giving you reasons why you can't do it. So just let yourself on paper dream. That is like, the majority of how I've grown the business has been me sitting around thinking about like, well, what would it be like if we did this? If I wanted to be able to do this, what would need to change and how would we do that? And what were the things I would need to learn and stuff? And the next thing I know, I start noticing it's not nearly as complicated and as impossible as I think it is. And then I kind of just naturally started going in those directions. How do you engagingly talk to a screen each day when it doesn't speak back? Well, a couple of tips, because I do this all day. I'm doing it right now. Like, y'all ain't talking to me. I'm kind of talking to myself, and I'm not even looking at myself. I've got me covered up. I used to like to, so a lot of times I like to look at myself because it makes me feel like there's another person. But I got a new fancy camera, and when I look at myself, I'm not looking at you. So I'm practicing now looking at this ugly little, it looks like a big eyeball. That's it. It just is like a boring ass eyeball, and that's all. So what I do is I really just sit and think that there is an audience on the other side. There are like a lot of times, like just a minute ago when I was talking about dreaming and stuff, in my mind, I had a picture of a woman sitting with paper and she's writing about her dreams. And that makes it easier for me to just talk to a screen for the day. So it's just, you know, what you can do is you can Google like, how to host a webinar and it be engaging, something along those lines. And you'll get lots more tips. But for me, number one, you got to be willing to go live and it be awkward for a while. Like that's the big thing is I've gotten good at it because I have been doing this. I will bet you I have been live 10,000 hours at this point, maybe more. I don't know. I mean, literally, I have coached, I have taught classes, I've done Q&As, I have podcasts. I have just sat and basically had to imagine somebody on the other side whose dreams depend on me showing up and connecting with them. And so a lot of it is also just the thoughts you have. If you're thinking, I'm talking to a blank screen, this is really hard, it's not going to help you. But when you think about somebody is on the other side, there is somebody sitting there right now, and they're waiting on me to say something so they can take some action today. There's something I'll say today, and I know in my heart, I'm going to say something, and somebody's going to be like, that really helped. That was like what I needed to hear. Like they may not go out and do, like I may never hear about the epic things they do, but I guarantee you, someone's going to plan their week this week based on what I just taught in the very beginning. Somebody made a to-do list while I was talking. Somebody wrote down like, well, I'm going to dream tomorrow. And just knowing that and like thinking more about what the person on the other side might be able to do, the action that they might be able to take, like putting my head in their place is what's really helpful rather than being in my head about what I don't like and what's hard for me. Did you brand yourself first, then start the business, or did you grow your own following at the same time as your business grew? How did you separate or merge your personal, private life and public? That's a lot of questions. Let's start with branding. When I first started, it was called Fit and Fat, PHIT -N-PHAT. I went on, I don't remember where, I think it was Zazzle or Custom Ink. And I found a little chick with a ponytail dressed in camo and pink. And she was my brand logo. I mean, all I did in the very beginning, I didn't have anything, but I was like, that'll be a cool name. There was no fancy branding. I'm going to tell you right now, we didn't even brand, like we didn't even get colors and fancy anything until we had shortened it at one point to, we were calling ourselves P&P because that was easier than saying Fit and Fat. Then we added Tribe to it. I still have the tattoo on my arm. We were the P&P Tribe for a while, but nobody understood what P&P Tribe meant. I spent every single time that I was, launching our membership trying to explain what the hell a P&P Tribe was. It didn't make sense to anyone. But that version, we decided we were going to have a family tree and we were going to be blue and white. And so I hired a little graphic designer to come up with something for me. And we were that way for a while. And then what I realized after I talked to my mentor was that it was going to be really hard to keep growing if I was always having to explain what PMP Tribe meant. And so our course had already been called the No BS Weight Loss Course, and we just decided to be the No BS Weight Loss Program. So I rebranded one more time. And when I rebranded, we just kind of cleaned up the colors, we cleaned up the fonts, but it's never been a fancy process. Let me tell you this. Your branding is the least important thing you can work on in the very beginning. The very least. You need to be working on reaching out and getting used to talking to people. You need to be getting over your fears of going live. You need to have a lot of people tell you no so that you can learn how to offer what you offer in a way that it makes sense for someone and that somebody's like, I get it now. You can really help me. And in the beginning, it don't matter your colors. It doesn't matter your fonts. It doesn't matter if you have a logo. None of this shit matters. What matters most is like, pick a fucking name and get started. Pick your own damn name. But just start posting, start talking about it, start writing emails, like start with the foundational basics. That matters more. And then how did I separate or merge my personal and private life? There was no conscious, it wasn't like a conscious process. I have always been somebody that teaches best sharing through personal stories. And so I share a lot of my personal life, but you do not have to. That's just what feels right to me. I have friends who have businesses and they do not share their personal life. They share their clients' results and stuff. They never post about what they're doing. And if you go to my personal Facebook page, people tag me and stuff all the time. I don't even post on it. I don't share, that's not like the people who know me, I share with them privately my stuff. The world hears a lot of what really goes on for Corinne as it pertains to helping them. So I share a lot of my depression and I share a lot of what I'm going through. I share a lot of stuff, but I share things I always want to share stuff that I'm going through because in my mind, it's like, that's what connects us. I'm willing to do that. I don't mind doing that. And it's easier for me to connect to my person by doing that. And when I feel connected to my person, I know I can help them. And I think what ends up happening is people think there's one way to connect to people, and there's just not. It really isn't. If you don't like sharing your personal stuff, I wouldn't do it. If you like sharing your personal stuff, I would do it. But it would be based on what you like and what you enjoy and what is going to help you feel purposeful. And I'm pretty much, you can ask most people, I'm pretty much an open book. There's very little of my life that I don't share. But I've always done that because it felt right for me. But there was no this is the stuff I'll share and this is the stuff I want. I've never really tried to separate all of it out. It just kind of came across natural. I remember when I was first starting, when, I was just talking to a handful of people every day. And the best way that I could explain what I wanted them to do for weight loss was to tell them things that I had overcome and how I overcame it. And this is what I used to think, and this is what I was feeling, and I decided to think this instead. And when I did that, this is the things that I did. It was just so much easier for me to tell personal stories to connect. How do I know if I have a good idea? I want to help teachers, and I know I can help them as these are my peeps. My thought is teachers can't afford my help in the form of coaching. I'm coaching for free at the moment. Number one, I think we all like to think teachers don't have any money. I just don't think that's a helpful thought. Teachers, this is the way I like to think about teachers. Teachers will spend money on things that they know will help them. But you've got to make sure they know how you can help them. I have teacher friends that, they drive new cars. They go on vacations. If they're going to go to a wedding, they get a new dress. If they want to go out to eat with their partner, somehow they can figure out a way to go out to eat because those things are important. It's not that teachers are just sitting around, like y'all act like teachers are sitting around in a tent in the woods and then they show up to school. Like they're that poor. I'm not saying, like, let me just say this. I think teachers should make more money, period, end of story. I can't even tell you how much gratitude, like my family has for teachers. Because our son needed amazing people that cared like a motherfucker to teach him. And I am sure none of them got paid near enough for the bullshit that my son was a great kid, but I remember him talking about all the other kids and I'm like, they don't get paid enough. So I just want to say that. But you as a coach need to remember that teachers, if you have something that will help them, your job is to make it valuable enough to where they may be willing to give up going out to dinner. Maybe they'll prioritize some money because being happy here, solving this problem, whatever it is, now becomes worth it and valuable to them because it uplevels their life, makes their life easier, changes their life. That's a powerful way to think about it. How do you know if you have a good idea? You test it. All of you, there's no way to know that you have a good idea until you actually put it out, start talking about it, start trying to sell it. People will tell you if you have a good idea or not. Sometimes we can fully believe in an idea and nobody wants it. And so you have a choice. Either it's like, it might be in how I'm presenting it and I need to get better at the presentation of it. Or it may be like, I really love it, but they're all telling me like, I don't know. I mean, that's nice, but that's not a pain point for me that's so painful that I would want to pay money to solve it. We ended 2021 at 149K. My goal for this year is 500K, but not sure of the how. I know we need to not focus on the how, but not sure how to scale what I've done. All right. So I believe we do have to focus on the how some, but the how is not the first thing that you focus on. Okay. Everybody has to look at how am I going to get there? But what happens is what you want to do is like, if I just knew how, then I would believe I can make 500K. What I encourage people to do is I want you to find what you can believe about 500K. First, you need to shore up your belief in, I know I can show up every day. I know that I will continue to put my brain to work on how to get there every single day. I'm willing for some of I believe that I can fail at some stuff and learn from it. I believe that I can write every single day about ideas that I might have that I'm willing to test to see if they work or not. I think a lot of times what we do is we confuse the how starts presenting itself as you brainstorm on it. But what y'all kind of get it a little bit flipped. It's like, if I knew exactly what to do, then I could believe in my path. And I want you to think about what is stopping me from believing that I can make 500K. A lot of times it's more of these things like, well, if I get off, let's say that you want to make 500K by the end of the year and you're off track in March. Well, if I get off track with numbers, I know I won't get there. That's going to be an obstacle. You got to be able to get off track with your numbers and still act like someone who's going to make 500K. So can you believe no matter what is happening all year long, I'm going to show up all year as if I am a 500K earner, as if I am going for 500K, as if I'm the kind of person who knows they're going to get there, because you'll show up very differently than someone who gets rocked easy. So it's thinking about, what can you believe on the way? What are all those small beliefs that lead to the big one of I'll get to 500K? What are the little things that I'm likely to not believe that I can clear up now? And then I would just every single day start thinking about what are all the ways that I can make this happen? I do, like, we set goals in our business every year. And I do the same thing. Like, we have a goal with our members on one of my dreams is to make sure that every fucking woman that ever comes through No BS actually finishes the No BS weight loss course. Like, they don't get distracted by life and forget and do all this other shenanigan shit. Like, they get through the course. That is a big, 100% compliance is a huge goal. It would be easy to give up on 100% compliance because every single month we have women who don't do it. But I don't sit and be like, well, we probably should lower the goal, or, well, I knew I was wrong about that one. I just think like, all right, what are we not trying? What are we not doing? What are the, like, how do we get those women to get through it? I'm constantly thinking about, I'm going to be the kind of membership that 100% of her members go through the course, because I know if they just go through the course, things will change for them. I know nothing will change if they don't. Very hard to change if they don't. But I want all of them set up as much as I possibly can. I want them set up to succeed. And so I'm always believing that we'll get the 100%. Now, I don't know exactly how. So what I do is I think about how it could be done all the time, and we get busy testing and trying those things. And some stuff works and some stuff doesn't, but I don't give up on the belief. What is the one thing you did at the start of your business that you continue to do that works? Talk to my clients. Talk to my clients. I've always been heavily engaged. I still am heavily engaged. There's no better way to understand. I tell them all the time, like, y'all like my little lab rats. Like, the highest compliment that I get from my clients is this. I'll be doing like a live, or I will, like, we just released a course called Taking Big Ass Action, how to go from half-ass into big ass action. Or I'll be coaching and they'll go like, oh my God, do you have cameras in my house? Like, you must be watching me because you know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm doing, because I can describe it in such detail. So the one thing that I have done the entire time is my members know I'm constantly popping into the Facebook group. Not only am I reading, but I'm answering questions. Now, I don't spend 10 hours a day in there. I have other people that do a lot of that, but I don't get away from the grassroots work. I will never be so like too good to be able to talk to my fucking clients. You have got to be talking to your clients. That's the one thing that I still do. My team sends me emails all the time of like, you know, here's some feedback from people. We have an ideas channel. Like we're always listening to what they're saying. I have tons of ideas of what I want to do for them, but I think that there's a beautiful blend with clients. There's what I think they need. There's what they think they need. And my job is to take both of those and say like, all right, based on what they need and what I think they need, what is the best path? How do I make this work for both? Because sometimes they don't know what they need, and that's what I want to be, like, I'm the expert in. Sometimes they're telling me what they need. I think I know what they need, but they're just like, no, it's this, it's this, it's this. My job is to listen. My job is not to sit and think I know better. Sometimes I do know a little better, and I can explain it to them. But a lot of times, there's so much I don't know still. I've been doing this for 15 years, and my women still continue to teach me, like, here's the next hole in your teaching. Here's the next thing that you're not saying. Here's the thing that you think you're saying great. They don't fucking get it. Here's the thing on the website that makes no sense to them. Here's what they're loving and they wish you would do more of. Here's the thing you thought would be fantabulous, and everybody was like, that's like a fart in church. I don't give a shit. Like, so listening and not putting your ego in the way of it. not getting your feelings hurt when your people don't like something you did, not getting your panties in a wad when something doesn't go the way you think it should. I am just always like, I am so passionate about my clients solving their weight loss problems. Even if I have to feel bad to serve them, I am willing to feel bad to serve them because I want them to feel so good, and I will figure out how to feel better. I don't know if y'all can hear my cat, but he is obviously in the pain train right now. He wants his mama so bad. I'm looking to start a free Facebook group, best tips for building engagement from the get-go. You're going to need to post. So you need to come up with posts that have what's called a call to action. When you first start a Facebook group, all Facebook groups pretty much have maybe 10% of the total number of people are going to be your active users. Like even in our group of, almost 12,000, 10% are daily posters, 10% are weekly posters. So you're not going to have near as many people posting. So if you only have 50 people in your group, you're going to have 5 that want to chat. The rest ain't until you teach them. So you want to have you want to think about your free Facebook onboarding. You want to make sure that you have an introduction post. Like, here's how we do things here. Welcome to our group. Feel like, what do you want them sharing? What is not okay in your group? So that people really, but one thing that it does is it keeps like asshole tendencies down, but it also helps everybody create a sense of safety that I can trust that these things won't be happening in this group because we're all getting the same messaging. You also you're probably going to need to be posting things with a call to action in them. So don't just throw out a post and hope people will respond. You want to throw out posts that your users would love to respond to. And one of the things to always think about is give them clear direction on what you want them to do. If you want them to leave a GIF, leave a GIF. If you want them to answer a question, I would always say this. This is one of the things that we do in our group. Tell us in one sentence why blah, blah, blah. Like, people are not looking to sit around in your Facebook group and spend all their time. But if they can do quick engagement, they're really thrilled. So you want them in the beginning, you want to focus on some quick engagement and just tell them the types of posts you would love to see. So like in our group, if we want to see, like, let's say we're going to do a challenge where we want to see, we're working on stopping at enough. So we might for a week say, we would love to see all the pictures of what y'all are leaving behind. Or maybe we're like right now we're in the middle of a little movement challenge. We're trying to get people to move 10 minutes a day so that they can start figuring out different types of movement they might like. And, just to kind of start getting ready for spring when people may want to go for walks and things. So we will post something like, sweaty Saturday. Show us a selfie of your 10-minute movement. So just making things fun and engaging. But just remember, it's like 10% of your total number of people are going to be engaging. How did you learn to internalize responsibility for results? I made $40K last month. And when I asked what worked, I can't pinpoint even a half a dozen things. I do so much. I get coached and I still can't figure out what worked to repeat this month. You write it down. So this to me sounds like you just don't have a process for every single day and every week of writing down what did work. So I have my own productivity journal that I created for my entire team. So a shortcut for this one is just you need to know what you planned for the day, and then you have to assess your day. Here's what I got done. Here's what I didn't get done. And then you just ask the question, what worked well today? Then at the end of the week, you do the same thing. It's like, here were the 5 things I did this week that made a difference. Maybe you start with 3. And then you write what worked this week and what didn't. You have to get into the habit of doing that. I would not try to do it at the end of the month. I would do it daily so that your brain is always looking for what worked. It's always making notes on things. I would also, and I do the same thing with my weight loss clients. I have them talk about what worked for them. I would do it at the end of the week, and then I would do it at the end of the month. Let's see. How do you know when to bring in help versus figure it out yourself? I'm thinking in particular of marketing. I didn't start bringing in any help until I had done the job myself for a little while. And I got to the point to where I was kind of stuck. Like I had maximized all I knew I needed to do. So I didn't bring in marketing help until I was already good at posting on social. I was already making some of my own janky graphics. I was really good about making sure that I had photos of myself. I was already good at showing up on a Facebook Live. Like I didn't hire anybody to do marketing until I got really good at showing up first. And I wanted to, like, whatever I thought marketing people were going to do for me, I learned how to do it first. That doesn't mean I learned how to do it like an amazing fucking rock star. But I learned how to do it good enough so that when I had someone I was going to work on marketing with, we could actually talk. I could give them clear direction on what I wanted. I could tell if I had someone good with marketing or not, or were they just someone who wasn't that good, but I didn't know dick. And then I didn't even know how to tell them you're not any good. I could maybe sense it because of the money that I was spending. So I just the way that I started hiring from help is when a couple of things. I didn't hire marketing help. I didn't hire marketing. Sarah's not even, Sarah, have you even been here a year? Maybe she's been here 1 year. Like I didn't hire marketing help for a long time. It was just basically me and like getting busy. But I will say this, and I've been in business 15 years. I know for sure 2 years ago, I was doing all the marketing myself. I wrote all the copy. I wrote the launch. Like if it was a post, it got handwritten by me. I'm still writing all of our copy. Like I have marketing help, but I still write the messaging. I just don't think there's anybody better to message for me than me, because I have spent all these years learning how to message. That doesn't mean you have to, but I will tell you, when people say, Corinne, it's like you're in my head. It's like, yeah, because I never gave up talking to them and handed it off to somebody else to talk to them. I tried a couple of times and it just never really worked. Now, what marketing does for me is they keep some of my best stuff. They organize it for me. And then when it's time for a launch or it's time for something, they give me like, here's your best hits. What do you want to refresh? Do you like this order? Do you want to use it again? Or do you want to write something new? So that's where they've started helping me. But I know what I want to do with it because I have so much experience with it now. And that was just from years and years and years of writing janky copy that didn't work at first and having to sit there and rework it. But for me, one of the things when I first started hiring from help, it was like, where am I spending time in the business doing things that don't add a lot of value to the business? Now it's just busy work. So like I hired someone to help me. Like I could write posts, but I didn't need to schedule them anymore. I was spending a lot of time scheduling everything. So one of the people that I hired first was somebody who could help me with a lot of the tasky part. Like I stayed the creative genius, but I handed off doing shit with it to someone else and making sure that happened. My membership, when I got lots and lots of members, I couldn't go in there and answer everybody's questions every day, but I really wanted for No BS to have a strong presence. I wanted to be able to go in and make big impacts on important posts. So I started hiring people who could be there to like give links. So like, oh, we have a course on that, to cheerlead and to do those things. So I built out people who could do those things while I focused on what I would call the most impactful work. So that was kind of like how I knew when I was going to hire and when I wasn't. I love your model of having a free course up, then launch into your membership. In the beginning, was your membership open all the time or do you always open, close it? We've always opened and closed it. It's always been that way. Now, the way our membership works, we started this a year ago in April, where if you go through my free course, you have 5 days to join. And then like we send you all the information. If you choose to be a not now, then you wait until one of our openings. And we only have 2 a year now. We have one in the spring. We have one coming up starting on March the 2nd, I believe. The challenge opens on February 20th. I think on the if I believe on the 26th or 27th of February, on that the following Sunday it'll be the 27th is when the challenge begins. And then that Saturday, we'll close the membership back up. And then we'll have another one in the fall, probably in September. So I only open twice a year. But if you're new to my free course and you take the free course, you'll get an invitation to join. And you can do so within 5 days. So that's a little different because I used to open 4 and 5 times a year. And what I realized is I just didn't want women to have to wait that long that were just finding me. But I wasn't really nailed on like how to sell my membership and how to tell them like there's a difference. A lot of y'all tell them what they'll get, like you'll get videos and you'll get time with me and you'll get these things. It took me a long time to learn how to tell them what they'll get. Like you'll get evenings back where you're not sitting there eating Oreos, where you're actually resting without stressing out and feeling guilty for doing so. You'll get to wake up every morning free of regrets, set up for the day, feeling like you're finally in control of food instead of waking up every day thinking you've got to start over. So it took a lot of me writing to where I could have a system where people could join because they don't know me at all, but I need them to know instantly that I'm their person. And that took years of writing and learning that I needed to focus more on what they would get transformationally, not what they would get like as far as just things. So I think it's just one of those things where I knew that it was hard for us to launch. It is a huge process when we launch. You know, it takes my entire team's focus. It's a lot of hours for everybody to do. It's, we answer tons and tons of questions. There's just a lot of moving pieces. And I wanted to be able to spend more time in my business working with my clients and not always being in launch mode and bringing new people in. So, that's when but I've always been an open close type business. So it still is an open close. It just has like a twist and a nuance to it. All right. That's all of our time. Thank you so much. Do not forget, Sarah, if you will drop the link. I've already forgotten what the link is, so I'm going to need to read it, Sarah, in the comments, or you can put it in the Slack channel. What is where they can go to get on the wait list? So I am going to be doing some offerings this summer, different things, but I can't tell you what they are just yet. We are in the works on lots of stuff. So Sarah, if you'll type it into Slack, I'll say it out loud. But you want to get on that wait list because you're going to want to get notice. It's nobsbusinesswomen.com. So if you go over there and sign up, you will for sure get a notice when I do my Facebook Live each month. So it's the second Tuesday, 9 a.m. Central Time. Pretty soon, I'm going to start sending out just some motivational emails like, here's a podcast I listened to, I think you should listen to. Here's a book that I read, I think you should read. Like I'm going to start sending some of those things out soon. So you don't want to miss that stuff. And then when I decide to have something special for everybody that would love to work with me, you'll be the first one to know and you'll get in the doors first. All right. Share this, like it, tag someone, and I'll see you next month. Bye, y'all.